Welcome, everybody. This is the Hudson River Park Advisory Council meeting of April 21st, 2026. It's 6:39. We're going to call the meeting to order. We're going to do a quorum check. If you are online and are a member, I need one per organization. So if you're the alternate, but the member is here, only one of you need to raise your hand, please. Please raise hands so we can do a count online. Thank you. Craig, do you know how to raise your hand from the, there you go.
Oh, there you go. Text Wendy. Thank you. That's fighting.
That includes Nicole, if you'll raise your hand from Senator Botcher's office. If there's no one else here from that office, please. The Village Community Boathouse as well, and Wendy. Senator Botcher, no, she's still good. Okay. In the room, hands up. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, yeah. Awesome. 10. Thank you. Okay, achieving quorum. Thank you very much, everybody. Let's move into our agenda. And just to make sure, did everybody get through the attendance sheet? Just making sure I haven't left anybody. All right, we will connect the minutes at the next meeting because they did not get linked today. All right, so membership update. Susan Kent, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Tonight we are voting on new members for our executive committee. The committee has a total of 7 people. 3 of them are the officers, and there are 4 open seats that are people are elected to once a year in April, as our bylaws require. The 3 of the seats are available to all members at large. 1 seat must be filled by the representative of an elected official, either from the City Council, the State Senate or Assembly, or the U.S. House of Representatives. If no one has any questions, I will open the floor. Oh, people can nominate themselves or nominate someone else. If there are no questions, I will open the floor to nominations. Oh, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. The current members are Tom Fox, Mary Habsbrit, and Martin Sweeney, and it's Tracy Jackson is the elected representative member. They are, of course, all welcome to renominate themselves. If there's no other questions, I will open the floor to nominations. And if you're online, just please raise your hand. Okay, Tammy?
I'll go ahead and renominate. I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with my sound. I see that from Wendy. I'll renominate Tracy and Wendy for the elected positions. They've done a really bang-up job representing government.
Well, oh yes, that's technically that is
And
permitted.
an alternate.
Oh, well, we don't actually elect the alternates. We elect the members and then they have their alternates. But
I'll let them decide which way they
okay,
go.
that's absolutely fine. Yeah, you can only
Okay,
put
Tracy, between you and Wendy, which one is going to be the primary and which is the backup? I see. We're going to take Wendy Pastor because Councilmember Brewer, when she arrives, may be the one to nominate her. So we'll take a.
Okay.
Hi, this is
Martin
Tracy.
has
Can
his
you
hand
hear
up.
me?
Yes.
Hi, sorry, I just logged in and I'm sorry I'm running late and remote, but I was going to also suggest Wendy and would love to nominate her as well or second the nomination.
Do we have a second on the nomination?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I have I'm sorry, Martin. Yes, please.
I'm willing to continue on the exec.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a second on that nomination? I will second.
I will
that
second it.
nomination. Anyone else, Tom, or anyone else?
Yes, I'd like to throw my hat in the ring for another term.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay,
No.
we currently have two community organization members and one elected official representative nominee. Are there any, Mary?
Can I nominate someone else?
Run again, so I'll nominate myself.
Mary?
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Oh. I'm willing to run again, so I nominate myself.
Oh, okay. I was just going to nominate you, Mary.
And I second that. Are there any more nominations? Online, if you're online, please raise your hand. I see no more nominations in the room. If there are none, I will close the nominations and we can vote. Now, since we have 3 community organization representatives and 1 elected official representative, if there is no objection, we can vote on these by acclamation. Is there any objection? If not, all in favor? Now is when you have to vote, actually.
Aye.
Aye. I see hands. Everyone raise your hand if you're happy with this slate. Okay, we already have a majority, so it passes. Thank you to all of our members who, oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. And I was a chair one. Any abstentions, any recusals, any noes? I have 3 hands up. Okay, if your hand is still up, you are voting no. Yeah. Yeah, Martin, you don't. Okay, I see no hands up online. Are there any abstentions? I see no hands and any recusals. Okay, I see none. So thank you to our current and new members, Tom Fox, Wendy Pastor, Mary Habsburg, and Martin Sweeney. Thank you. Oh, and my next item, of course, is that since once a year, each organization has to formally state its representative and its alternate. We do require that you do this in writing. If you have letterhead, please put it on letterhead. Well, not every organization has letterhead. They do? Okay. Well, please, yes, then it should be on letterhead and that your organization officially appoints you. Please also include your email addresses. That will be very helpful. If you can get it into the office or to me, I'm sorry, in the next 2 weeks, much appreciated. And that's it.
I'll round up by saying, if you're wondering, this is my last as CB1 chair, chairing the advisory committee. We swap every 2 years. So I go from chair to second vice chair. The current second vice chair, which is CB4, which is lovely being held position today. Leslie,
You just never know who you're going to meet, you know?
So Katie's taking notes for us today, but Leslie will hopefully be back for the next meeting on June 9th. And then I'll be second vice chair and Susan and the representatives from CB2 will move up to first vice chair. And that is all as dictated in our bylaws. For those who asked, it needs to be on some type of official letterhead for the organization, as it says in the agenda. Each confirmed community member organization designates an individual to be the official representative and an alternate if they choose to. Those designations must be submitted on official letterhead and sent to the membership committee. And there's no way around that one. All right, let's pass the mic down to Chris McGann.
Hello, what? Hi. Hello, everyone. All right, the public safety report. With the arrival of the warm weather, we are seeing the anticipated increase in pedestrian traffic in the park and corresponding use of the park facilities. We are again taking a proactive approach to crime prevention, reassessing our security measures and signage throughout our facilities. PEP officers have begun to educate and warn field users at Pier 40, Gansevoort, Chelsea Waterside Park about leaving bags, cell phones, and other valuables unattended. While crime overall in the park is down, there was an assault that occurred recently. On Wednesday, March 25th, a female park patron was the victim of an unprovoked assault while she was walking south on the Esplanade near Pier 51. At about 9:10 p.m., an apparently emotionally disturbed person ran up behind her and punched her in the face. The victim was knocked down, sustained lacerations and swelling to her face. The victim was treated and transported to the hospital by EMS. The 6th Precinct Detective Squad is investigating this and was provided video evidence of the crime, and we're assisting them with their investigation. Some other things that didn't make it to the report. There was a, you remember prior years, we warned about the Cash App scams. Well, they started again. And on Friday at Gansevoort, someone was the victim of a Cash App scam. We're working on methods we can do now to warn people about, don't give anyone your phone. Don't let anyone use your phone. On Tuesday night, we had more bags stolen at Pier 57, the same routines as last year. We're aware of it. We're working on it. And I guess one last thing I want to report. On the morning of April 1st, an emotionally disturbed woman jumped into the river from the west end of Pier 66. Gateway Tunnel construction workers noticed this and immediately began the rescue efforts. They called 911 and they lowered a boat they had into the water. Some of the workers were able to grab the woman who was floating upstream and pull her from the river. At that time, she made inconsistent statements about someone else being in the water, and FDNY rescue units searched the area for negative results. The woman was in stable condition, but was removed to the hospital by EMS for a psychiatric evaluation. This incident was also captured on our camera system.
Any questions? All right. Anybody online have any questions for Chris? Let's keep rolling. I mean, I'm up. Okay. Thank you. I think we're moving right along this today. I'm very excited to hear about it. I'm sorry that I cursed us all by saying it. Up first, let's go through some dining construction. Previously shared, rooftop field number 1 is currently slated to be replaced. We did not book it for the spring season to allow us to be able to do the replacement. We are keeping it open right now on a kind of a day-to-day basis as we get the materials and other equipment in for it. There has been sort of a cascade effect through parts of the building on some of the work that needed to be done in order to get the equipment to the field, which the team did not fully anticipate it until they went to go start. So this is going to be, we are hopeful to start soon, though. The goal is still to wrap that up before the summer season. We had left ourselves some buffer, and it looks like we're going to use it. We are continuing structural repairs throughout the building. This is intensive and very coordinated efforts with everybody. Village Community Boathouse experienced it this winter as part of one of the first rounds of it. Same with our wet lab. Both spaces are coming back online now. P3, we work with P3 to schedule it for their period, which is deep dead of summer, where they can be outside instead of inside. So we're working to get that scheduled and prepared to try to make sure we're as minimally disruptive as possible. No part of Pier 40 will be unscathed by this. HRET itself is not exempt. Our horticulture team recently had to relocate all their offices in kind of a more emergent fashion because of some of that work, again, for Rooftop 1 that cascaded through the building. It's going to be a long few years as we would make our way through it. It's particularly when we start hitting some of the indoor spaces will be more challenging. But right now that project continues to be underway. Pier 51 Playground, we had hoped to have started already at this point. We had some delivery issues with some of the core play equipment.
The
So
Hudson
it
River
looks
Park
like
Advisory
we are
Council
delaying the
needs
start of the project. Sorry,
its
Tom, were you saying
annual
something?
letter appointing.
Tom, I'm going to mute you unless you mean to be off mute. Okay. For Pier 51, we are going to be, looks like we are delaying the start. We had tried to time this so it was as early in the warm weather season, understanding people like the splash pad. I just got word, I believe yesterday, that it looks like we're still working with the contractor, but our hope is now to try to delay this toward the very end of the season. So starting sort of after Labor Day, though that is still going to be pending the availability and work schedule of our contractor. Or the worst case scenario, and what we're trying to avoid, is shutting the playground down in peak summer when it is most heavily used. That being said, there are necessary repairs to the playground, and it does need to be. We do need to do this work. So while we are hopeful right now, and it looks like all signs are pointing we're going to be able to delay. I may come back next time to say, unfortunately, it's happening in the worst period. That is the life of construction. But I will let you know. As far as I know right now, it is after Labor Day, but I'll confirm. We're continuing advanced repairs this season on both boathouses at both Pier 66 and 96. This is using a method of sealing that we had successfully deployed down at Pier 26 last year, which is less intensive. It does not impact boathouse operations. We're coordinating with our boathouses right now for it. But that's continuing. Pier 76, as everyone knows, and we have said as many times as possible, Pier 76 is in bad shape and it's going to require repairs. We are doing work right now on some of the piles and structural pieces, particularly around some of the cribbing, which is like concrete Lincoln logs up on the frontage part of the pier. So we are doing shoring for both some of these pilings and cribbing. It is going to be largely in areas that are not currently accessible to the public, sometimes somewhat along the building. There is a piece that is on the very upland, so along the public fence line, that will be visible and will impact some closures. But in terms of the size of the pier, a very minor closure that should not otherwise disrupt use of the pier for events or, frankly, general public use. But you may see it starting this summer, sort of depending on the next meeting on. We have a number of food carts that are kind of lifted out in the advisory council report. Our real estate team is trialing what I think should be hopefully well received, and it certainly will be by trust staff, is a coffee cart at Pier 40, particularly for some of the evenings and weekend period. I'm expecting a robust response from some of our parents. For the season, we're going to try. It's a trial basis, so we'll see. The nearest coffee is a deli, I believe, over on Washington Street. It is 17-minute round trip walk from Pier 40 offices. In case anyone's knowing, if you are late to a meeting, you have 17 minutes to get there and get back. That's all you need. The Pier 84, we're also trying for this, and this is one that I do want to mention. We are looking forward to the construction of the 29 to 44th Street section, which includes work immediately adjacent and surrounding the building at Pier 84. We don't believe at this point that it would be good for us to do a new RFP for new permanent occupant or concessionaire for the building until that work is complete, or frankly near complete. Bringing someone in who's trying to establish their business and then immediately getting disrupted by construction, we think would ultimately be bad, and we would not get as good a response or good as concessionaire as possible. Understanding that there's a deep community interest, and I saw Leslie, who was on here, from the local community about making sure we are activating that space. We are working with a suite of food carts to try to create a kind of food. Outdoor food hall like piece immediately adjacent to the building. We're trying to pull power from the building to reduce the use of generators and others. We're looking at possible seating and lighting to try to make sure that we are activating that space the much as possible, as well as providing the concessionary services, which I know folks really appreciate as an amenity. And we know it is probably a disappointment for some. We too are disappointed by it. The remainder of the previous occupant took much longer to clear with Department of Buildings and Fire Department than we were hoping. So we are also sort of using some of these concessions as monitoring to try to figure out what might be successful there and try to prove some proof of concept so that we can really try to attract a good operator for when we do move forward. We are also obviously interested in community feedback. If folks like what they see, don't like what they see, want to see something different, we're very interested in it as we go through this sort of trial period. We are also trialing up at Pier 97, where we recently constructed the new concession. We are in conversations with a number of operators to try to bring in a seasonal activation up there. Again, that is much like Hudson Plate was last year and currently this year at Gansevoort, trial concession to try to help make sure to do some proof of market and proof of concept testing to help before attracting hopefully a permanent operator. And so those are all those. I will pause on food and concessions, given that I talked all from south to bottom here. Yeah.
Or the rooftop, or the dusk in particular being just informed of the slippage of the schedule.
So as of yet, the schedule has not slipped. We're still within schedule. We said within the spring season, and that is currently the schedule that I am informed of. That being said, we are not as far along as we had been hoping to be at this point. But our design and construction team is under the belief that as long as the carpet is delivered on time, we are still a go to wrap within the spring season prior to the start of summer season. We definitely know. Yes, we understand, and we'll tell everyone and all the field users as soon as we can. Yes. Chelsea Waterside Park. So we had a question, Alan. So the question is Chelsea Waterside. We had a concessionaire in that temporary space. It did not. They unfortunately pulled out. So we are still sort of searching to try to find the right operator to take it over. It turned out to be, I think, a challenging location. I think the expectation was that there's going to be a more robust sort of market response from someone interested in operating it, and we have not found that to be the case. Okay, I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to save July 4th to the end because I think we are probably going to have some discussion about that. So I'm going to skip that for now. We received an award of $151,800. Don't ask me the specific why. The overall from Chet in order to Hudson River Foundation's Champlain Hudson Environmental Trust for habitat restoration. This is particular, and this is an interest that is aligning very well with one of the projects we are working on under one of our NOAA grants as directed by Congressman Nadler for in situ seeding. So we are looking to try to trial sort of this remote seeding concept. When we currently seed oysters, it is done essentially in a massive large tank. It's like a shipping container and that you drop the features in, you put the spat in, they sit for 3 days, you flush it out, and then you take the whole item with a crane and drop it into the Hudson. The concept of this would be a sort of a remote seeding concept, which is either by seeding them directly by like spraying them on them or possibly dropping a curtain into the water in situ and then seeding them in place so that there is with the concept, scientific kind of concept behind it being the less disruption, the better seeding there'll be. And the closer that the spat are able to land in their natural environment, the more likely they are to be healthy and survive. It is obviously a trial, so we are still trying to figure out exactly what the details are, but we are currently trying to work with some hatcheries and others to do it. It looks like we are scheduling to trial this for next summer. It does take some time to order the spat, for them to grow the spat, and then for you to install it. You also have to hit the seasonal weather. So that looks like a next summer piece. It is kind of continuing our efforts overall on trying to do some of these unique and trial habitat restoration efforts. It's really a piece that we have kind of grown an expertise in, particularly in our river project team. We have a number of Earth Day events, including a special workshop on the 23rd for the fungus among us. As that's the Mycology Society is going to come speak. We also have some things here going on, including our first annual Dig into Earth Week in the Habitat Garden. That's again in the Chelsea section of the park, where you can enjoy nature walks, naturalists, scavenger hunts, native plants and crafts. This is kind of the spring counterpoint to our fall pollinator celebration. So we're kind of activating that, the Habitat Garden in the Chelsea section, which because it is kind of as that sort of preserve-like concept, it does not see the same sort of public health, but we're trying to use some of this programming to invite folks into it. We are currently working, and I know we have a lot of questions from our runner community, which the first warm day, we always get info box inquiries about why our water fountains are not on. It then freezes the next week, and I have to respond to them all that like there is a reason we don't turn them on yet. So they are currently on. We're not expecting any freeze. We got them on. We are now currently working our way through much of the water sort of decorative fountains, and then also a lot of our irrigation. The irrigation being miles upon miles upon miles of pipe, all of which needs to be turned on. Each needs to be inspected. I was walking the other day through the park, and there was, in fact, what I discovered to be a brand new fountain in the middle of one of our lawns. So it all needs repairs. It's a long piece. We are working on some lighting upgrades. We have some boardwalk lighting up at Pier 96 that was recently converted to some lower energy LEDs. And we are working on the Pier 40 courtyard field lights, which I know folks are going to be very excited about that taking place this summer. Still working on exactly what the means and methods for that are going to be. They are very high and it's kind of challenging to get to, particularly with sort of the heavy light head. We are still maintaining the poles, so it's reduced on that, but we do need to swatch out the lighting fixtures. Folks will see we are currently, while we are planning that project, currently have folks going up right now to replace the out bulbs for those who are concerned about it. We are still maintaining it while we are looking ahead to later this year doing the full swap out. Those will bring them up to sort of, frankly, I think a slightly higher lighting standard. I know the courtyard donut, the loading dock area lights have been brighter than the field play lights, which has been causing some concern for since we made that last swap, and hopefully this will catch them up. We have routine sheriff maintenance going on throughout with Pier 40 later this month and Pier 97. And we have a number of sort of dock work and dock and bulkhead work going on. I know we have some work that we recently completed at Pier 66 where we worked with Hudson River Community Sailing to do some disruption that involved bringing a barge and lifting a very large dock piece up and off. We have work going on also down at Pier 25 on the west dock, which we are slated was removed at the end of last year because of the piles were slipping or detaching and is going to be replaced later this year. We're working with a contractor on when to bring it in, as well as some repairs, I believe, to the Pier 26 dock. This is a very busy season, bringing me into one of my final topics here. For marine repairs. It turns out that a lot of people in the harbor are looking before July 4th, when all of the boats are coming across New York City from I think it's like 150 boats, both Navy and non-Navy vessels, plus many, many more, are coming to the harbor for the Sail 4th and July 4th celebrations. It is very challenging right now to get some of the marine contractors in to do some of this work. They are in demand. So we are trying to advance it. Hopefully we are a good and consistent client and will continue to go on. My final item, I will skip the lighting audit. Folks who are now out, let us know if we've done lighting audit, we have lights out, is an update on July 4th. And actually here, Tammy, I have 3 things that you guys want me to talk about. What are they? All right, let me start from the bottom.
All
I'm gonna
right,
speak
I
back to you
can.
from memory.
There are 4 things. There's Sale 250, birthing updates and events,
Okay.
right?
Let me do that one, and then we'll keep going.
There you go.
Sail forth. So we continue to work with the very large group of agencies involved in sail forth planning. The boat parade, international naval review, and international aerial review are all still underway, planned for July 4th. At the moment, it seems like, and we're still waiting to hear back from Sail Forth on the specifics. It looks like we were going to have vessels at both Pier 25 and Pier 97. There is, as I understand it, a massive Jenga or a Tetris of boats around the harbor, the right boat in the right spot with the right type of docking and the right needs, the right landside planning. I don't believe that we are currently the top of the list. We also are hopefully one of the more flexible locations. So we're kind of waiting to see which boats that they will be assigning to us, what their needs will be. We're working with them on that. We sort of, they owe us some information, but we are actively trying to work with that. On the day of planning for celebration, which I know folks are going to be the top line of questions, I will tell you I don't have an answer. New York City, New York State, the federal government, all of security agencies from both New York City, New York State, New Jersey, and the federal government are all still working on some of exactly what those plans will be. We know we're going to be viewing location. We know a lot of people are going to come to the park. Exactly is how strict is it going to be? Is it going to be ticketed? Do you going to need to get access? Are we shutting everything down? Are we just letting everybody in? I don't have an answer to yet. It is something that I have actively raised my hands about. They have a lot of technical planning about where boats are. How are they getting sailors on and off ships? How are they protecting those locations for it? What are security plans for when the various foreign navies are there? What is the security plans for that? And I every single time will raise my hand and ask, what about Hudson River Park's crosswalks? Because we need to know. But unfortunately, we are low on their priority list for that. The city is getting around to that planning. The viewing is going to stretch from the George Washington Bridge all the way out to the Verrazano. There's a massive amount of city that's going to be able to view this, and the security and crowding needs to be unpacked for every single one of those zones. So we are working with them on it. I will let you all know as soon as I know. I will tell you, if you are a tenant in the park, I would highly recommend, if you're trying to make plans, remaining as maximally flexible as possible, because I think much like July 4th 2 years ago, when we got information at the end of May for the last July 4th, we might be on a similar time scale. And 2, if the security situation changes, if, say, a major federal appointee or major federal official that is protected by the Secret Service decides to touch land in Manhattan, all of our plans get swept aside and it all becomes different. And we may not know that until the absolute last minute. So remain flexible. I'd also, if you're a tenant in the park or control a space in the park, highly recommend any of those plans be ticketed. You should ticket them because otherwise, that is the best way we can help preserve access. If it is public access, the idea that you're going to have people walk in on July 4th, I caution against it. I cannot tell you instructions. I will tell you it's not my recommendation. I will pause on July 4th if there are questions. I'm very comprehensive.
Yeah, so my question is, right now you're just focused on July 4 because the parade of ships goes from July 1 to July 9. And so we're concerned at Village Community Boathouse with how this is going to impact our operations, not on the 4th, but on the other days.
Yes, let me talk about the other days. You're right. I skipped a whole section of this. So it does seem like all signs are pointing to, and we obviously all have to wait for the Coast Guard's final rule. It does seem that per our request, per the advisory council request, many of our voting things request that the non-motorized boating restrictions in that time period are going to be shrinking. Exactly what they are going to be, I don't want to hazard. It does seem like my guess is going to be the day of when they are really looking
looking to control access on the water. And even then, there may be restricted public access through our boathouses where then folks may be be able to be on water. And so it may be there. For the days before and after, there are going to be ships that are in the harbor coming in, getting ready for the parade, and there are going to be ships who are staying after doing public tours, and those are going to be throughout the whole harbor in Hudson River Park, and those are what I talked about Pier 25 and Pier 97, and basically every other deepwater port and dock and stock space that they can find, including some, I believe, that are going to be moored in the channel, or sorry, anchored in the channel. With that, though, for Hudson River Park and Hudson River Park's specific view, we are anticipating those impacts to be very localized. So either for where we have ships that are docked, again, Pier 25, Pier 97, Pier 86, obviously with the Intrepid, which is in the park, also will similarly have, I think, much like Fleet Week, it's Fleet Week many times over, will also have ships along with the Manhattan Cruise Terminal, similar to Fleet Week. There will be substantial impacts in that Hell's Kitchen section of the park. Like I don't want to mince any words about that. The number of Navy ships, the security requirements around them, and the number of vessels and number of visitors is going to be extraordinary, and we're trying to work with them on the landside impacts, including trying to help coordinate with the Manhattan Cruise Terminal, which, while not in the park, does impact the park immediately to the north and south, as well as a lot of folks will be using the park to get there. There is going to be public viewing in that section, what lines look like, what does support look like, what does security look like, hopefully to have more information. But again, we expect that to be fairly localized. Within the park, we are expecting it elsewhere in the park, again, somewhat on Pier 25, somewhat on Pier 97, somewhat dependent on what exactly boat is, what exactly the boat's plans. Are they doing public viewing? Can they host public viewing? Do they have programming? Is it private receptions? Which we don't yet know because we don't yet know the boats, but we are going to be working on the planning for that. We anticipate that it will be of a scale that we are fully capable of handling. We don't anticipate it to be of such a scale that it's going to, say, shut down an entire pier at the moment. I'll let you know if that changes. I saw JC and then Daniel.
Hi, thank you. So from the frying pans
Mary,
aspect,
next.
I want to make sure I understand completely.
JC, can you speak up?
Can you hear me? Sorry, I have it as loud as I know how to turn this up. Let me see. Is that better?
No.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll post it on the chat instead.
You want to put it in the chat and someone will read it to me?
Yes.
Daniel. No information on that. If I knew, if I could. Depending on who shows up in the NYPD's plans, folks may have seen there is a lot of discussion within the city right now about what resources the city has available to support not only Sail Forth events, but also FIFA events that are taking place throughout this time period. Also, possibly Taylor Swift's wedding, which would also be happening in this time period. So a little bit of what that is, we are still sort of waiting to hear from the city and state on what security resources are going to be available. Obviously, it's not something that we would control. We are going to be in a reactive position for that. Mary.
One thing I'm wondering as you talk about all the security, because I was going, yay, the Macy's fireworks are on the East River, so we're not going to have to worry about that. So good that you said that, but what I'm wondering is how you're going to get the word out to all the tenants. Like 2 years ago when the fireworks were on the Hudson and there was a lot of security to plan for, we had some Zoom meetings with tenants and people from Macy's, and I think that was really helpful. So there were some restaurants that hadn't existed in the park last time it happened. They were like, what do you mean I have to ticket all my customers?
Yeah. So, we are starting to talk to folks as people approach us and have their plans. We're starting to share some of what we know for it. We don't yet have a definitive piece. It is a good reminder. We should probably send out a message kind of blanket. I think we've talked to most folks. At this point, we should send out a reminder on sort of some of this. Again, it's going to be my expectation is that this information is going to come together very late in the process, and so the cautioning of flexibility is going to be an important piece. We absolutely, if we have information to share, Zooms, emails, calls, we want our tenants to be prepared. We don't want chaos. We know it takes a lot of
Okay.
coordination.
Which is perfect because that's what JC is asking about. JC would like to know if on the 4th of July, the frying pan can have a ticketed entrance, and who do they coordinate? Directly through you to be on file and record, so you will coordinate with security for them?
Yeah, so our current kind of standing recommendation is you probably should ticket. I have no information about if the NYPD is going to control access to the park in any way, shape, or form. So it may be a free for all, and at which point we may have massive crowds or no crowds, or who knows. And it may just be open, and folks will fill up until it's full, and then they won't be able to make it across the highway, and that will be that. Or in which point you could have a ticket event. It's going to be really, really challenging for us to get anybody into you.
Okay, so here's a question. The next AC meeting is June 9th. Do you think you can have a definitive answer for them by June 9th so they can make plans to either have a ticketed event or not?
I will share information when I have information from the city to share.
Okay. All right. Nice. Does anybody else have any questions on this topic? Isaac.
Access to fields, so we're saying July 4th, no, but are we thinking that's going to stretch before and after, or?
The current posture is that there are going to be limited impacts to park use outside of July 4th itself. I do not anticipate the other fields having significant impacts. We may have impacts from FIFA in the summer season. There are certainly activations and other things that are looking to use fields and things that we don't yet know. We have very limited that are currently planned, but that's TBD. But from sale forth, we expect very limited on our fields. We obviously are very protective of our field and field times. We understand camps use it and they are scheduled for it.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Fantastic. Let's move to the second one, the BPCA construction resiliency update. And before Robert talks, to give the floor, they will be coming June 9th. As one of the two featured speakers. They did confirm to me just before.
So folks may see Battery Park City has currently occupied that southernmost portion of the park. Later this summer, they will be beginning to do some of that swap work that they had come and presented about last time they were here. And so that is the concept that eventually they will need to work out towards what is currently the Esplanade. Therefore, the pedestrian path will need to swing out towards the bikeway. Similarly, they will need to at some point work out and into the bikeway, and then the bikeway will need to, I think, swing onto the inside alongside the Esplanade piece of it. That is much like Gateway has come with some of this work right now. If you've been through the Gateway area, that 29th Street area, it has moved, as has the highway even. My understanding is Battery Park City is not also moving the highway lanes, but so that work is forthcoming. I am cautious to give you a schedule on it. Hopefully Battery Park City will be able to, in June, give you guys some further details on what their plans are.
Okay, anybody have any questions on that one? Fantastic. Gateway project?
Gateway. Chris McGann obviously mentioned earlier that Gateway workers were able to help save a life, which we're very appreciative of it. We have been working with them very closely on their plans. As I just mentioned, you may have seen the swing beginning to happen already. The bikeway has shifted. It has an interesting new curve in it, much as does Route 9A. That is going to be shifting the other direction, shifting east in the coming weeks and months. I believe it is like currently about to, maybe as soon as next week. The bikeway will be jumping, so the site will split into two, and you will now be going through essentially what is a channel down the center of the site as they start working on the east side of the site, what is currently the bikeway. The bikeway will shift west. You will be in a channel between the two sites. I believe eventually you will get closer to onto the heliport site, and then it will inch its way back at some point for there. That condition, once it's made its jump, will be, I think, for a substantial portion of this year, with the idea that eventually it will flop back to its kind of current position where it will be for 2 years. Eventually, we will swap back to being into the center channel. So it's sort of a back and forth. We are working very closely with them to try to make sure that this is well signed, that there are clear instructions, that it is done in a way that is like safe for cyclists along the way. They do a lot of this swapping work overnight, when it is absolutely at its lowest number of ridership. I hopefully plans are going to go well, but it's a thing. I'm getting told I got to stop talking.
Cool. All right. The Joby event day. It's a 1-day permit, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, so folks may have seen this in West 42nd Street Mag. Joby, which owns Blade, which is one of the largest users of the West 29th Street heliport, is doing a special event. The flight is from JFK to West 30th Street. It's part of a demonstration flight with the Port Authority and the FAA and others for their new electric helicopters, eVTOLs. They have, it is otherwise sort of normal heliport use. They're landing what is equivalent to a helicopter at a heliport. They are having a reception piece of it, which is unusual use. We have authorized Air Pegasus, the permit holder for it, to hold that event. My understanding is that the majority of the event is inside of their facility. We have worked with them on things like how to make sure that the event doesn't block the Esplanade and the bikeway, and make sure their press vans are not, pulling in and parking on the Esplanade or blocking the bikeway for it, and that they can get all their visitors in and out safely.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions? Mary?
Not about that, but since you talked about the Pier 97 food concessions, is there any word on if there will be an RFP for the historic ship operation there, which was supposed to be one with a food and beverage operation, I believe?
Yeah, so we are approaching our sort of annual 5-year cycle on these. So we have begun some internal discussions on prep work for it. We are likely, I think, looking at sort of later this year. I think in part we were trying to see if we were going to get any information or some good possible leads from the Sailforth endeavor. We are going to try to see if we could work with get some folks that we were possibly or would be interested in being here. It is something that we've started to look at, though. I'm going to go council member first. Yes.
Yeah.
Grammar's precedent.
We want to welcome Gail Brewer. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Councilmember
Brewer.
Just about the heliport and the helicopters. Those quiet supposed helicopters are not prevalent. They're not available on a regular basis. And Blade is still flying, and they're still noisy, and they're still dropping fuel. And they're owned by the people who are so intent on quiet electric helicopters. So I just want to be clear, as you suggested, that this is a nice sounding event, but we're still dealing with helicopters that are making a lot of noise. Thank you.
I actually had a question for you related to the food pilot. So one of the things that reminds me when Councilmember Brewer mentioned that is food trucks inherently come with gas-powered engines oftentimes and food carts. So when you're doing the setups, are you having consideration of who's running off of electric or who's running off of diesel, and how is that going to work?
Yes, absolutely. So that is a piece where we're working with it. We have been trying to look at carts that can either operate off of a battery. We call them battery generators, but they're just a large battery pack. I don't know why we're calling them generators. They don't create power. You charge them. They're a battery pack, a massive battery pack. Or, and particularly up at 84, where we're looking to do this at a more sustained level. That's where I mentioned we are actually looking to try to see if we could pull power from within the building to help power these carts. So they would be up against sort of the building in that area where the former concessionaire had that outdoor seating area, sort of outdoor bar, and trying to create sort of that outdoor food court concession like feel using the carts, but pulling power from within the building itself.
Perfect. I think that's it. If I don't have any more questions in the room.
Mr. Fox.
Mr. Fox.
Thank you. I would think,
A
Robert,
little
that,
louder, Tom.
sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I would think, Robert, that you should make the need to have them be electric and be powered off the grid, because either way, the batteries next to the water and the weight, if it's going to be anywhere near a pier, and it's just more economically and environmentally prudent to have it be able to plug into an adjacent facility to generate its energy. That's just my opinion, but I think it should be a policy of the park to minimize any other approach to this.
Thank you for that. We'll definitely take it back. This is evolving technology. I'll tell you, we are very excited that we have actually a handful of new battery packs, essentially large battery packs that are going to allow us to move our Broadway by the Boardwalk series off of generators into the sort of electric generators or battery packs that are of such scale that they're able to simply run the whole stage for the event. We're really excited about for it. It is something we are actually working on. There are limitations about power, where power is, how do you get it, and we want to make sure that we're able to help provide this concessionaire. So we are trying to thread a needle with it. It is something that we are actively trying to do sort of throughout the park. Much of our lawn equipment and others, we've been trialing some of the newly available commercial pieces of battery powered lawn equipment to move away from some of the previous gas equipment that we've had. It is a work in progress sort of at the commercial scale. The market has not quite yet caught up. It is something that we are actively working on.
Would they all be charged on site, or would they be rented from another agency or brought into the park? Would you have charging facilities for your battery power and the production equipment, that type of thing?
Yeah,
Within the
so
park?
for Broadway by the Boardwalk, we actually own the generators now. We worked with our audio consultant. Audio requires a very specific type of electricity, and it has to be level, and it can't be spiky, otherwise you'll ruin your sound, whatever. So we have specific ones that should be able to accommodate that, that are sort of that commercial quality that have been begin to use in festivals elsewhere in the country. For ours that we charge here, again, most of our electricity comes from NYPA, the New York Power Authority, which has, I believe it's over 80%, almost 90% of its power is generated through renewable resources. So that's the New York State Power Authority brings it in, and that's where we get our power from off the grid. For the concessionaires, and I assume it would be their battery packs. Exactly which concessionaire and where would vary. As I mentioned, we are looking to use the building as sort of a home base for these carts that are outside. Getting a concessionaire in a building is a much larger lift than, say, using it as storage for carts or pulling power out of it, running a cord inside in order to charge it, to power it from an outlet. So it's a work in progress that we're kind of actively in discussions about.
Awesome. When you have discussions done, please come and give us an update specifically.
I'll see you in June.
Exactly. All right. So speaking of June, if you have questions specifically that you'd like answered from the Battery Park City Authority related to the construction impacts, again, including but not limited to the mooring fields, the estuary, mobility, accessibility, and access, or any activities around Pier 25, whether by water, by land, please make sure that you write them down. If you can't come, please send them in to the email so we can send them off to the Battery Park City Authority and maybe preempt some information to make sure that they have it and they don't say, oh, well, we'll get back to you. Their project is in full swing. it's happening. It's rolling along. So having your questions ready, if you send them to the AC before Memorial Day, which gives everybody a month, then we can get them to ensure that it's a robust presentation in June. We did also invite Joby to come in June and talk to us. Joby is doing a demo, as you heard, in the trust. They're also doing one over on Pier 6 at the end of the month. So we anticipate hearing back from Joby whether they'll attend in June, in the very beginning of May, but not before then. If you have any additional ideas for topic suggestions or any subjects that you'd like discussed, please email us and let us know. So again, from that base email, advisory council at hrpt.gov. Did I get that right? I popped it in the chat. Yeah. Okay, great.
Tammy?
Tom, your hand's still up. You are the
Yeah,
last one before we adjourn.
I'm following up on last month's meeting. When I proposed that an alternative plan for the Midtown Cruise Terminal might be useful, and Leslie mentioned that one of their concerns was there was no Plan B. So the City Club has gotten a grant, and I've already reviewed the first set of drawings, and we're going to be going to Community Board 4's Waterfront Park and Environment Committee, hopefully, on May 14th. And you said you would delay making a resolution from the Trust Advisory Council. So I'd like to be on the June 9th meeting, and we'll be in to do a presentation that's more formal with designs of the
Perfection.
building, and it will not take up 7 acres of the Hudson River, and there'll be more
Not a
park.
problem, Tom.
So-
Since the beauty is you're on the executive committee, what I love is we have that agenda tracker, put it right on there. Make sure you've got who's ever going to be presenting from City Club, and it'll be on the June agenda. That sounds fantastic. So thank you
You know
very,
what a
very much.
Luddite I am. I'm sorry I can't use those things, but I'll try and figure it out. Okay, be good.
All right, and
Thank
that's
you.
for June 9th. And do I have any other questions or comments?
Go walk the park. The bulbs look amazing. Our tulips are
Oh,
spectacular. Our team did a really great job.
Good luck this year, Robert. You're going to need it.
We did it in your absence. So Wendy, and she won. She's duly elected. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Meeting is adjourned at 7:36. Thank you, everybody. Go enjoy the park.